Well, Chancellor, thank you for the incredibly kind introduction. And it is a real honor to be here today. To the leadership of Ivy Tech, the Board of Trustees, distinguished faculty, proud parents, family members, friends, and most importantly, the remarkable graduating class of 2026, I'm excited to say congratulations to you all. As you've heard several times tonight already, Ivy Tech has changed the lives of so many people by opening doors, creating opportunity, and helping students build futures with purpose. This institution represents something I deeply believe in. Education should be accessible, practical, life-changing, and rooted in service. Before I go any further, I probably should address what some of you may be thinking. Who is this guy and why is he speaking on maybe one of the most important days of our lives? Well, that's a fair question. As you heard, my name is Chuck Surack, and unlike all of you graduating here today, I can't say I finished college. In fact, my entire college career consisted of one class right here at Ivy Tech. I took about 3 weeks worth of classes, and then I dropped out. Now, the reason I dropped out, it was all about AC and DC electronics, and I'd already studied that through mail order, and I'd studied that in real-world applications by fixing electronic equipment and music instruments. And the funny part is I knew that material, so I just really got bored and bailed out of the class. So if you're wondering what can happen after Ivy Tech, apparently you can come back 50 years later and give the commencement speech. Graduates, today you walk across the stage with much more than a credential. You carry momentum. You've learned how to keep moving forward even when life changes the rhythm. And your journeys have not all looked the same. Some of you have followed a traditional path. Others balanced full-time jobs. You raised families or returned to school after years away. Ivy Tech students understand something powerful. Life rarely unfolds in a perfect melody. The road can be messy, it can be delayed, and harder than ever expected. And some of you thought this day may never come, and yet here you are. This is not just an achievement, it's a testament to who you are. You carry skills, resilience, courage, and a future filled with possibility and hope. Ivy Tech has prepared you for life long beyond college. When I was your age, I had dreams, just like many of you. I thought I might be a pediatrician, but before diving fully into college, I decided to take a detour and travel the country as a musician. And once music was bubbling in my blood, there was nothing else I wanted to do. That detour became a lifelong journey in music, business, entrepreneurship, and philanthropy. And while I never earned a college degree, I never stopped learning. To me, that is one of the greatest lessons in life. School may end, but your education should never end. Let me quickly share my story. At 5 years old, I made and sold potholders, first hundreds and then thousands of potholders. And at age 8, while my friends delivered 30 newspapers, I figured out that if I delivered to apartments and senior citizen houses, which were much smaller, I could deliver 330 newspapers every day. And in 5th grade, I fell in love with music. And long before YouTube, I taught myself by listening to records and reading library books, which, by the way, was basically YouTube, except a little bit slower, and sometimes you had late fees on those books. Over time, I learned to play saxophone and many other instruments, yet I never took a private lesson. I also grew up in scouting. I know scouting is not as popular today as when I grew up, but it taught me values that shaped my whole life. The scout laws as a Boy Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. These principles became the blueprint for everything I've done in my life and in business. By the time I was 14, I was mowing lawns and rebuilding bicycles that I would purchase at the semi-annual police auctions. And at 16, I got a real job at Sears department store. I was Winnie the Pooh. It was my first experience in leadership, because when you can't see, you can barely breathe, and you have children that are tackling you for hugs, you learn resilience very quickly. Looking back, those were not just odd jobs or childhood hustles. In fact, using today's definition, we might have said I was beginning to be an entrepreneur, although that was a word that wasn't commonly used back then. But they were my first lessons in work ethic, customer service, humility, consistency, servant leadership, and creating joy for others. I graduated from Wayne High School in 1975 and went on the road for several years as a musician. In 1979, I came home and humbly started Sweetwater. And I mean humbly. My first corporate headquarters was a 1966 rusty Volkswagen bus and a 12 by 55 mobile home. Today, we would probably call that a mobile startup ecosystem. Back then, I called it trying to survive. And I didn't have a business plan that anyone would lend money on. I just had a belief that if I took care of musicians, the business would take care of itself. In those early days, I answered the phones, I packed the boxes, swept the floors, handled customer problems, I fixed the equipment myself. There were nights that I only slept a few hours because I was trying to keep my dream alive. And most people around here thought it was a crazy idea. A recording business in Fort Wayne? They told me if I was serious, I needed to move to Nashville or New York or LA. In fact, many people would ask, when am I going to get a real job? Thankfully, many years later, they don't ask that much anymore. But I always believed in doing things the right way, treating people well, working hard, showing up, solving problems, learning constantly, and never giving up. Don't let a lack of resources stop you from having an abundance of ambition. More than 4 decades later, Sweetwater became a company with billions of dollars in revenue, millions of customers, and thousands of employees. But what has always mattered to me is not the size of the company or the money. The reward for me is helping people. It's creating opportunity. It is seeing others grow, succeed, and live out their own dreams. My wife, Lisa, and I often talk about how the 25 or so other businesses that we own today are really just platforms to help other people. Tonight, I want to leave you with a few thoughts that I believe have been key to my success and could help you also. The first one's integrity. Always do the right thing. Doing the right thing is not about convenience. It's not about image. It's not about what gets posted online or whatever makes you look good in front of others. Your reputation is built in small moments by keeping promises, telling the truth, quickly returning calls, texts, and emails, and showing up occasionally and consistently. It's about doing what is right all the time, even when nobody is watching. At Sweetwater, when something went wrong, we never asked, what's the cheapest way out? We always asked, what's the right thing to do in this situation? And integrity is not a nice word for a speech. It's one of the most valuable things you will ever own. Protect your integrity and build your reputation. And as I said before, never stop learning. While my path did not include a traditional degree, I have spent every day since in the University of Doing. I refuse to stay uneducated. Long before Google or AI, I taught myself accounting and marketing, electronics, computer programming, sales and leadership, whatever I needed. I asked questions. I read consistently. I listened to people that were much smarter than me. And today I continue learning more than ever. When I earned my helicopter license at age 50, my instructor told me it wasn't a badge of mastery. It was a license to keep learning. And that's exactly what your diploma is today. Ivy Tech has given you the controls. Now it's your job to keep your eyes on the horizon and keep practicing. Our world is changing so fast. Technology's changing, industries are changing, jobs are changing. With AI, we are living through the fastest technological shift in human history. The people who thrive won't necessarily be the most credentialed, they'll be the ones who are most curious. I also say that anything's possible, but only with work, grit, and perseverance. I've always believed that failure is not an option, and that anything is possible. But let me be clear, that is not a slogan, it is a mindset. Anything is possible if you have the determination to not fail. Be kind, be humble, invest in others. Kindness is not a weakness. In fact, it's a strength. We live in a world that can feel loud, divided, impatient, and at times even cruel. Yet in our everyday moments, kindness is still all around us. We see it when we help a stranger, or when we check in or listen to a friend, or by showing grace when someone is struggling. Never underestimate the power of kindness. It builds trust, it heals wounds, it opens doors, and it shapes cultures. No act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. And we need kindness today more than ever. Over time, you'll discover that a meaningful life is not built in one grand moment, but in thousands of small notes played consistently and with purpose. You will accomplish amazing things in life. You'll build careers, businesses, families, and communities that you're so proud of. Every day is a true blessing. Don't let one day get past you. Invest deeply in family, friendships, mentors, and community. Relationships are what give life its deepest meaning. Make time for the people you love. And as Stevie Wonder reminds us in so many of his songs, love is the key to everything. Be present, listen, encourage others. Ask for help when you need it. Offer help before it's requested. And you don't have to be wealthy or retired or successful enough to help others. Give your time today, give your talent, give your heart. Mentor someone, volunteer, help a neighbor, support a cause that you believe in. Lift others as you climb. Some of life's greatest joys come not from what you build, but from what you give. You will discover that generosity creates a richness that no bank account can ever match. And at the end of your life, no title, no paycheck, and no trophy will matter more than the people you loved and the lives you touched. And then finally, your generation is needed. Every generation inherits problems that it did not create. But every generation also receives the opportunity to improve the world. The world needs your skills, your character, and your voice to make our world better. Graduates, every one of you has already proven that you can keep going. You have balanced work, family, doubt, sacrifice, and change, and today, here you are. I'm so proud of you. Your families are proud of you. Ivy Tech is proud of you. Do the right thing. Keep learning, work hard, be kind, stay humble, give back. And when life gets difficult, because sometimes it will, don't let failure be the final word. If a guy who took one class at Ivy Tech, drove a Volkswagen bus, dressed as Winnie the Pooh, and started a business in a mobile home can build a life that he loves, then believe me, your story is just getting started. Your life is a song waiting to be written. You spent your time at Ivy Tech learning the notes. Now go out there and play them with everything you've got. Don't just follow the beat, set the tempo, and remember, the skills you learned here at Ivy Tech are your instruments. Now it's your turn to play. Compose something beautiful. Go build your masterpiece. Congratulations, Ivy Tech class of 2026.